Hey guys, it's me and it's Thursday again. It goes by so quick, I know. Anyways, I'm sorry that my video is late. I've just been really busy with work and I haven't slept much in 2 days and I'm sick, so I'm sorry that my video is late. But it's here, and this week's topic is discrimination, and I really want to take a different perspective on discrimination. A lot of what I hear from other people on the closet is the negative effects that come with discrimination, and nobody has really talked about what good can come from discrimination. So I'm gonna take that approach, and everyone's probably like, what the hell are you thinking, Josh? Nothing good can come from discrimination. Well, you're wrong if you think that. I'm sorry, but it's true. I've never really personally been discriminated against, so I can't really share stories with you guys from a personal perspective. But in high school and a little bit in college, more in high school, a lot of my friends were harassed for being gay. But seeing how much someone hurt someone else just for being who they are really brought out the activist in me. And I think that's a great thing. And I think that comes from a lot of people, where we don't look at discrimination in that sense. Yes, discrimination is terrible. Yes, it shouldn't happen. But the reality is, it does. And the only way to change that really is to become proactive in that. And every time that somebody is discriminated against, or you're discriminated against, standing up for who you are or standing up for someone else, whether you're gay or straight or black or white, because discrimination doesn't see color, gender, race, religion, orientation. It doesn't see anything. Discrimination is blind. So whenever you stand up for someone else, you're making a difference. And I think that's important, and that's something that's really great that comes out of discrimination. Now, I don't know if I really make sense to people sometimes, because I think a little bit differently. But think about a time that somebody called you faggot, or someone was like, oh, you're a dyke and you just haven't met the right guy, whatever. Or for a trans person, whenever somebody says that you need to just be what you were born as. Now think about the moment that you stood up for yourself, or think about the moment that you stood up for someone else. Would you have done that had somebody not discriminated against you? And I think a lot of people would say no. And without discrimination, we wouldn't stand up for ourselves. Standing up for who you are is self-esteem building, and it's pride in who you are, and it's so many things that a lot of us take for granted or don't even recognize sometimes. I know a lot of kids who are suicidal for being gay, and it's because they're discriminated against, but more so I think it's because somebody hasn't stood up for them yet. And I think that sometimes young queer kids don't know how to stand up for themselves, especially in school. Let's take it to high school for a minute. In high school, where everyone says that's so gay, or you're gay, or faggot this, faggot that, or dyke, or whatever they say. Think about the kid who's still closeted and isn't going to say anything. Now think about the silence he hears when no one else says anything either. Now imagine you being that kid. What would you do? And you're sitting back doing nothing because no one else is helping you, and you're not standing up for yourself because you don't believe in yourself enough yet, because you think that what you say or who you are doesn't make a difference. Well, you do, and it's very important to say, hey, that's not okay. That's not cool. I have a little bit of problem with the way that we react to discrimination. I think the day of silence is something that's really important for people to recognize how many voices we aren't hearing because of discrimination and those we have lost along the way. But I also think the day of silence is a victory for those who are against us. I think that they finally get a day where we just shut up, basically. We just don't say anything, and they'll say whatever they want, and we don't fight back. And yeah, sometimes it's not about fighting because silence is the loudest kind of noise, but who's gonna make that change? What if that kid who's always silent is just another day of silence, and somebody says something and nobody stands up again? What about him? What about her? What about them? I think that we forget a little bit where we were before we came out, and the things that we heard or seen or just had to experience for ourselves without anyone to back us up, because we're so comfortable with who we are now. Had we not been discriminated against, we would not be here. Had we just fallen into like this world where everyone is just one, we wouldn't be individuals. If everyone was one and we were good, yeah, I don't believe in that, because if we were one, nobody's unique and we're all the same. It takes discrimination sometimes to stand up for who you are, to make yourself different from other people, to separate you as an activist, as someone who's just going to sit back and watch something happen. It takes that kind of hate. And I think that if we do stand back and just let people say whatever they want, yeah, it's like this whole, well, I don't care what they say mentality, but somebody else cares. A 7-year-old boy cares. The 11-year-old boy that hung himself cares. People care. And if we just say, oh, well, I don't care, it's not always about us. It's not always about you. Sometimes we have to think about other people. And I think that we forget that. So when you're discriminated against, stand up. And when nobody stands up for you and you have to do it by yourself, that's okay, because you may be standing up for someone else who's too scared to. We are who we are today, and we have come so far because of people discriminating against us. Yeah, we have a long way to go, but we've started. We've planted that seed of change, and we are well on our way, believe me. But if we just stay silent and let people discriminate against us, and just sit back and be like, oh, well, it doesn't matter to me because I'm comfortable with who I am, we lose those who are not comfortable with who they are. And I think that's something even worse than being discriminated against, because no one life is worth our comfortability. It's not worth it. So when you're discriminated against, or when you hear it, stand up for someone else. If you're comfortable with who you are, be vocal. Take a chance and say, hey, that's not okay. And yeah, you may get a little bit of rhetoric, but that's okay too, because what you're going to gain from that is so much more than what you would have gained from just saying it doesn't bother me. Think about it. Peace.